Hey, this is Ryan Jones from Serverless Guru. In the last video, we showed how to use Lambda. We added some code and we tested it. We got to see some monitoring output. I'm going to go ahead and run this test one more time to show you. So we get this this outline here, and it has a few different types of details. So one of them is the duration. So 142 milliseconds, the amount of memory that was used. So this was the memory that was actually used. This is what you set the memory at. So you can see we're only using half of what we set the memory at. You can see that we got billed for 200 milliseconds. You can see a little little snippet here of logs. But this is not the most optimal way to view these logs. What we really want to do is we want to basically use some other solution, right? So we want to click this log link. This is going to take us to what's called Cloudwatch, and Cloudwatch is a monitoring solution for Lambda functions and for other things in AWS. So what we can do is we can click into these what's called a log group, and we can kind of see this display. So this was our function running, right? So let's go ahead and jump back, and I'll show you this. And you can see a timestamp here. You can see the date and then the time. It's in UTC, so you have to convert it. And then let's go ahead and make an edit, and then we'll see. So in the last invocation, so if we click this one, the most recent, it said nothing about what was actually inside the event. So let's go ahead and add an event log. Events. And then we'll test it. And what we should see is we should see a new invocation pop up. So right now it's 46, so that matches 46. And if you click in here, yeah, there we go. So we had info, event, key 1, success. So it printed that out. So this is how that communication works. First it runs in the Lambda function, then those logs get output to Cloudwatch, and then you can kind of dive into them deeper. This monitoring company that allows you to monitor your Lambda functions and see more of a good view of like what's going on. So it does like tracing, performance stuff, and you can kind of see that here. So here's your Lambda function, communicates to API gateway. You can see that the average latency was 776 milliseconds, error rate of 4.5%, estimated cost per month $357. Another solution would be Thundra has a similar platform to Epsilon, and they also do monitoring. You can kind of see that here. They have a trace map which shows details about how the Lambda function performs, the API gateway, and kind of gives you a higher level overview. And then also has like a trace chart, so you can kind of see line by line how long code took to run. And so I would say experiment with both of these, figure out which one works for you. If you're just now getting started, I definitely just recommend using Cloudwatch. If you're further along, I would check out Thundra or Epsilon, because they have, as you can see here, here's a heat map of like performance. So if you're at this point where you're pretty, you're running a production application for a company that's pretty big, I would definitely recommend using Thundra or Epsilon. My personal opinion on that, I kind of like both. I think that they both have their use case, but they solve the same problem, so they are competitors. And yeah, with that, we ran the function. We got to see the log group here. Let's go ahead and jump back. And so as you can see here, each one of these is an invocation that happens. So if we click into one of the oldest ones, we can see a similar log. We can see that here. This is the newest log. If you go all the way back to the the home screen, what you can see is a whole bunch of random information. I spend pretty much no time looking at this. I go down to logs on this left-hand side, and then what I'll do is I'll click on this Lambda function, so you can see AWS Lambda create user, and then I'll click on this function. I'll click on the most recent event, and then I'll view the logs of what happened. So once you get into a bigger application, you may wonder, why would I ever go to Cloudwatch when the Lambda console shows me this view here? And the big thing to understand there is that this is like an 8-line Lambda function, and you can see how big these logs are. Now imagine you had, you know, a 500 line or 200 line Lambda function. This could get, you know, pretty insane on the number of lines of logs, and we deal with this problem all the time. So, you know, eventually it's gonna get to a problem. So right now, what I would say is use the Lambda function console when you're testing, when you're getting like your, you know, your training wheels. Then once you get a little bit more up and running, start using Cloudwatch a little bit more. And then once you get to the point where you're running a production application, then start looking at like Epsilon or Thundra. And yeah, and then of course, as we keep going with the course, we'll learn more about Cloudwatch. We'll cover different areas, and we'll dive a little bit deeper. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.